Back at Fort Morgan High School, getting ready for game number 2 tonight, where the Fort Morgan Mustang girls host the Fort Lupton Blue Devil girls. Fort Morgan comes into the game averaging 36 points a game compared to 27 for the Fort Lupton girls. Fort Lupton is giving up 39.5 points. Fort Morgan is giving up 41.5 points. So if Fort Morgan can keep their average, hold Fort Lupton down, maybe the Fort Morgan girls can come away with a victory here tonight. Fort Lupton comes in 3-7 overall, 3-0 though in league. They're on a 3-game winning streak. They beat Vista Peak, Englewood, and Skyview their last 3 games for their 3 wins in the league. Fort Morgan comes in 4-7. They have only played 1 game so far in league, and that was against Englewood. Beat them 63-36 on the 8th of January. So Fort Morgan not very deep into the season yet, into the league, where Fort Lupton has already played 3 and are up 3 games to have won 3 and given up none. The coach for the Blue Devils is Joe Gutierrez, and his assistants are Jasmine Schaefer and Rory Richards. Head coach for the Fort Morgan girls is Jim Kreckemeyer, with his assistants Mike Gross and Chris Turner. So for the Fort Lupton Blue Devils, the starters are Regina Vega, Francesca Watson, Miranda Cruz, and also starting for Fort Lupton is number 21, Maggie Boggs. Maggie Boggs is a senior. Cruz is also a senior. Vega is a senior. Francesca is a junior. For the Mustangs tonight is starting Danielle Gross, followed by Samantha Pettyjohn, Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider is a 5'10 senior. Also starting is Lauren Staley, a 5'6 sophomore. And also starting is Alexis Bills. She is a 5'9 senior. So Fort Morgan has 7 seniors on this team this year. So very heavy laden with seniors. The Fort Lupton girls have 6 seniors on their team. So quite a few girls for Fort Lupton be their last year this year. So Allie Schneider to jump center for the Mustangs. And she will jump against Kyla Boyd, number 33. So Allie Schneider with the tip. That goes to Danielle Gross. Gross out on the left wing. Pass into Alexis Bills. Her shot is up and no good. Rebound to Allie Schneider. Snyder's out to Alexis Bills. Her shot is no good. Rebounded by Fort Morgan. And that shot was up and good by Danielle Gross. And she was also hammered on the shot, so she will go to the line to shoot 1. So Danielle Gross, that shot is no good. So 2-0 lead for the Fort Morgan girls. Now Regina Vega brings the ball up past half court for the Blue Devils. Maggie Boggs has it now over to Vega again. She drives to the lane, back out, and that ball is stolen by Samantha Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn tries to go in for a layup, loses control somewhat, then backs it out. She passes off to Alexis Bills. Bills off to Danielle Gross. Now out to the corner to Lauren Staley. Allie Schneider driving down the lane. Her layup up and no good. Rebounded to the Fort Lupton Blue Devils. There's going to be a foul called on Lauren Staley. That will be Staley's first of the game. Also first team foul for Fort Morgan. So Fort Lupton inbounds the ball in front of the Fort Morgan bench. Now Maggie Boggs is called for the travel. So turnover to Fort Morgan. Allie Schneider to inbounds the ball in front of their own bench. Now Fort Lupton is going to has a full court press, but Fort Morgan breaks that quite easily on a pass from Alexis Bills to Lauren Staley. So now Fort Morgan with their press of somewhat, and now there's going to be a foul clear out on the right wing by Allie Schneider. So that will be Schneider's first. So 4-0 Fort Morgan. Fort Lupton inbounds the ball on the far side. They get it into Francesca Watson. Watson now to Vega. Vega, her little tip, her pass inside is taken by Allie Schneider. Schneider now dribbling down the court, and she takes it up all the way, and her layup is no good. Alexis Bill's shot up and no good. Allie Schneider goes up, but she is fouled on the shot. So Allie Schneider will go to the line. And that foul was called on number 2, Regina Vega. So that will be her first. So Allie Schneider to the free throw line. So first one is up and no good for Schneider. Her second shot up and also off the side of the rim and no good. Schneider has been shooting 69% from the free throw line, but misses both of them to start off the game. So Fort Lupton now with the ball. Vega has it out towards the top of the key. Now to Miranda Cruz. Now over to for a three-pointer, and that shot is no good by Watson. Rebounded by Fort Lupton, but taken away by Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider, her pass to the center is no good. It skips out of bounds. That'll be a turnover by Fort Morgan to Fort Lupton. 4-0 Fort Morgan with 5:40 to go in the first period. So Regina Vega hustles up, has the ball now past half court. She picks up her dribble. Now off into the corner to Maggie Boggs. Shot underneath is no good. Rebounded by Danielle Gross. Now Allie Schneider with the ball, and she passes down court to Lauren Staley. But Lauren Staley can't control the pass, loses control and goes out of bounds. So it'll be another turnover by Fort Morgan. 4-0 Fort Morgan with the lead. 5:16 to go in the first period. So now Maggie Boggs bringing the ball up court, and her pass over to Cruz. Cruz pass underneath, but it's kicked out of bounds by Samantha Pettyjohn. So Fort Lupton inbounds the ball just to the right of their basket. They get it into Vega. Vega out at the three-point line. Now she dribbles back out about 4 steps. Now Maggie Boggs into the center of the lane. Her pass over to Vega. Vega dribbles inside the three-point circle. Watson back to Vega. Now like a pass underneath, but it was deflected out by Fort Morgan. So Fort Lupton will contain control of the ball. Pass inbounds to Miranda Cruz, but her shot is no good, but she was fouled on the shot. And she was fouled by Allie Schneider. So that will be 2 on her. So now Cruz to the line for a free throw, and that one is good. So Schneider will have to take a seat for a little while. And that will bring in Celia Smits. Give Allie Schneider a little break. Second shot is up and also good by Cruz. So 4-2 Fort Morgan. Alexis Bills, her pass up court is lost out of bounds by Danielle Gross. So another turnover by the Mustang girls. So Fort Lupton in the backcourt. Vega with her across the half-court line. She's being watched by Danielle Gross. Now passed over to Watson. Watson back out to Maggie Boggs. Now over to Vega. Vega to Watson. Watson's three is good. So that puts the Blue Devils up 5-4. And now in the backcourt, Samantha Pettyjohn is tied up by the Fort Lupton Blue Devils. Possession to the Blue Devils. So Fort Lupton up 5-4 now with 4:10 to go in the first period. Regina Vega out on the right wing. Now her pass underneath is lost out of bounds by Miranda Cruz. So Fort Morgan inbounds the ball under the Blue Devils basket. Ball into Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills, her pass over to Lauren Staley. Lauren Staley passed half court. Now she dribbles down court. Her bounce pass is up to Danielle Gross, but her shot is no good. Now Fort Lupton controls the ball with Gina Vega across half court. She's watched by Danielle Gross. Vega picks up her dribble. Now off to Watson. Back over to Maggie Boggs. And then Miranda Cruz. And then Vega into the lane. And she is fouled on the shot, I believe. So they're going to call that foul also on Danielle Gross. That'll be her first. Excuse me. First free throw is up and good for Vega. Her second shot coming. That shot also good. Inbounds pass by Alexis Bills is stolen by Fort Lupton. They're going to call a foul. And they called that on Samantha Pettyjohn. So that will be her first. 15 foul on Fort Morgan compared to 2 for Fort Lupton. Fort Lupton now with the ball. Regina Vega, her pass underneath is stolen. Taken by Samantha Pettyjohn. Now another jump ball has been called, so that will go to Fort Morgan. So Alexis Bills to get the ball into Lauren Staley. Lauren Staley passed half court. Her pass into Samantha Scott, but it was kicked out of bounds by the Blue Devils, so Fort Morgan will continue with the ball. Samantha Pettyjohn to inbounds the ball into Alexis Bills to the right of the key. Her shot up and no good off the back of the rim. Rebounded to Kyla Boyd for the Blue Devils. 7-4 Fort Lupton with 2:49 to go in the first period. So pass now back out to Regina Vega. Vega pass into Boyd. Boyd back out to Vega. Now Vega off to Maggie Boggs out at the top of the key. She drives down the lane. Her pass off and shot up and good by Miranda Cruz. So that's 4 in the game so far for Cruz. Fort Morgan loses control of the ball. Fort Lupton with full court pressure, and they do get the ball away from Fort Morgan. 9-4 Fort Lupton with 2:10 to go in the first period. So Maggie Boggs drives the lane. Fort Morgan has now called a timeout. So this Fort Morgan timeout is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Let the State Farm Insurance office of Greg Mullen and Brush help you find the best policy to fit your life. Home, auto, life, health. State Farm Insurance is here for you and your family. Give Greg Mullen a call today. Premier Farm Credit, committed to serving those in production ag. Premier Farm Credit, the gold standard in ag lending. Central Auto Parts, for the best prices and special offers on top quality car parts and accessories. Visit Central Auto Parts at 1001 West Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Morgan Federal Bank, keeping community banking simple and committed to their community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. So Fort Lupton inbounds left of their basket. Victoria Martinez into the game for Fort Lupton. Now a three from the corner by Frank Watson is no good. Tipped out of bounds by Fort Lupton, so ball over to the Mustangs. Alexis Bills inbounds the ball. Fort Lupton with some half-court pressure, not too much, or some full-court pressure. Now Alexis Bills takes it up court, and she is tied up, so that should go back to Fort Lupton. So another turnover by the Mustangs. Down 9-4 with 1:54 to go in the first period. So Fort Lupton with the ball, bringing it up past half court. With Celia Smith on the guard, and then Miranda Cruz up for the shot. But she is fouled, so Cruz will go to the line to shoot two. And she was fouled by Christina Frick, who has entered the game. First shot is good for Cruz. 10-4 Fort Lupton. So Cruz's next shot is up and also good. So 6 points on the night for Cruz for the Blue Devils. Now Alexis Bills across half court, and she is fouled out at the point by number 21, and that is Maggie Boggs. So that will be Boggs' first. There'll be two on Boggs. Now Fort Morgan inbounds the ball. Alexis Bills in the right corner. Now over to Samantha Pettyjohn, or excuse me, that Celia Smith. Ball is stolen by Fort Lupton. Layup is good by Fort Lupton by Francisca Watson. So 1:16 to go in the first period, 13-4 Fort Lupton. Fort Morgan gets the ball in, but there's a foul called. And they're going to call that on number 21. That's Maggie Boggs. That would be her third. So Samantha Pettyjohn out of the game. Celia Smith is out. So we have Danielle Gross back in and Christina Frick. Now Christina Frick's little jump shot is up and no good. Fort Lupton gets the rebound, but they're called for the travel. So ball to Fort Morgan just to the right of their basket. So Christina Frick, Alexis Bills, Samantha Scott. And shot up and good by Lauren Staley. That makes it 13-6. Fort Lupton with 50 seconds to go in the first period. Fort Lupton down court, loses it out of bounds. So that will be turned over to the Mustangs. So Alexis Bills to inbounds just left of her basket. Fort Lupton still with a full court pressure. Danielle Gross back over to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills back to Danielle Gross. Danielle Gross trying to get up court, but they've called a foul on Fort Lupton, and that will be go against Regina Vega. That will be her second. So Fort Morgan inbound in front of their own bench. Alexis Bills to inbound. Fort Lupton with a substitution. Now Cameron Garcia is into the game for them. Lauren Staley now with the ball. She drives down the lane, passes back out. Shot up and no good by Alexis Bills. Rebounded to Fort Lupton. Fort Lupton now driving down, backing it back out. And now Miranda Cruz back to Cameron Garcia. And now a three by Watson is no good. Fort Lupton comes down with the ball, but that's taken away by Fort Morgan. Alexis Bills past half court. So Alexis Bills keeping the drive alive. Now she's driving down the lane, and her layup is up and good. So Alexis Bills That's her first points of the game. So we have 3-2-1. Long shot by Fort Lupton is going to be short. So at the end of the first period, 13-8, Fort Lupton. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustang girls basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, Brian Nickel with Eric Nickel. Fort Morgan girls hosting the Fort Lupton girls. In the first period, the Mustangs had 8 turnovers compared to 7 for the Blue Devils. 5 rebounds compared to 6. Fort Morgan with the 5 rebounds. Now Fort Morgan with the ball in court, gets down court and promptly throws it away. So another turnover for Fort Morgan. So now Cardenas for the Blue Devils. Her shot is up and no good, but rebounded. Another offensive rebound for the Fort Lupton girls. So now a pass temporarily stolen by the Mustangs, but taken back by the Blue Devils. Now a long three-pointer by Watson was no good. Rebounded by Allie Schneider. Her pass down court is tipped out of bounds by Fort Lupton. So Fort Morgan with the ball. 13-8 with 7:17 to go in the second period. Fort Morgan inbounds the ball into the corner to Lauren Staley. Lauren Staley's little 7-footer is off the rim and no good. But Samantha Pettyjohn comes down with it off to Alexis Bills. Her shot is no good. Alexis Bills with the rebound. Her shot is up and good. So that's 13-10, Fort Lupton. Pass tipped out of bounds by Fort Morgan, so the ball will be in control of the Fort Lupton Blue Devils, up 13-10 with 6:55 to go in the second period. So Cardenas with the ball, now over to Garcia. Garcia out to Watson. Watson's three-pointer is no good. Rebound to Frick, but she is going to be fouled by number 33, and that's going to be Kyla Boyd. That's her first on Boyd. Fort Morgan inbounds the ball. Allie Schneider now with the ball past half court. She drives down court. Pass off to Lauren Staley, and her shot layup is up and good for Staley. Now Fort Morgan with some half-court defense, or with some full-court pressure, have a 30-second timeout called by Fort Lupton. So we'll have a couple of messages here from our great sponsors that help us be able to put these games on the air. Morgan Federal Bank, keeping community banking simple and committed to their community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Northern Colorado Title. You don't have to close on your house alone. Northern Colorado Title at 130 West of Kiowa in Fort Morgan will provide you with a stress-free closing. So with 6:22 to go in the second period, 13-12, Fort Lupton. Fort Lupton inbounds the ball on the far side of the court. So now Watson, her pass off to Cardenas, and now back to Watson. Now out to Cardenas out at the top. Now Fort Morgan with some pressure out around the three-point line, but shot up and good by Francisco Watson. So 15-12, Fort Lupton. Now Fort Morgan gets the ball in court in their end. Now Allie Schneider dribbling down the lane. She passes back out to Alexis Bills at the top of the key. Her three is no good. Rebounded and fought for, but picked up by Fort Lupton. So Francisca Watson now with the ball brings it past half court. 15-12, Fort Lupton with 5:35 to go in the second period. Now pass out to Cameron Garcia. Now over to Watson. Watson to Garcia. Her shot is nowhere close. Doesn't even come close on the three. Rebounded by Fort Lupton. That shot is blocked by Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider across half court. She drives down court, loses it out of bounds. There was a Fort Lupton girl sitting sitting out of bounds, and the ball rolled right to her, so that was out on Fort Lupton. So Fort Morgan inbounds the ball to the right of their basket. Shot pass inbounds, but knocked out by Boyd by Fort Lupton. So 5:14 to go in the second period, 15-12. Fort Lupton. Fort Morgan inbounds the ball, trying to get the ball in. Ball is kicked, so I'll try that again. Kicked out of bounds by Fort Lupton. Samantha Pettyjohn trying to get the ball in. Ball into Danielle Gross. Now Lauren Staley in the middle of the lane, and her little jumper is up and good for Staley. Now Fort Lupton bringing the ball up court. Fort Morgan with some hectic defense here. Ball is tipped out of bounds by Allie Schneider, so the ball will stay with Fort Lupton, up 15-14 with 4:54 to go in the second period. So Cardenas inbounds the ball. She gets it into Watson in the corner. Watson dribbling around on the right side, and she comes in, tries to go up for a layup, but she is fouled by Lauren Staley. So that'll be Staley's second. So she'll go to the line to shoot two for Watson. Her first shot is up and good. So now Christina Frick into the game for Lauren Staley. 4:47 to go in the first half, 16-14. Second shot for Watson is also good. 17-14. Allie Schneider takes the ball up past half court, dribbles around the back, passes off to Alexis Bills on the left. Her shot is no good. Allie Schneider with the rebound. Her shot up and no good. Rebounded, and they're fighting for it underneath there. Now Fort Morgan comes away with it. They're going to call a foul on Fort Lupton on number 2, I believe. I called it on 22. That would be on 20. Is that Baldiva? So that will be her first. First shot up and good for Danielle Gross. 17-15. Fort Lupton, her second shot up and also good. So that gives Danielle 4 points on the night. 17-16. Fort Lupton with 4:29 to go in the first half. Fort Morgan with full court pressure. They get it, they have a trap, and now they take the ball away. Christina Frick, but now taken back away by Fort Lupton. So Fort Lupton bringing the ball up court. Francisca Watson. Watson's little jumper at the free throw line off the rim and no good. Tipped out of bounds by Fort Lupton. Ball to the Mustangs. Alexis Bills to inbounds just to the right of her basket, or to the right of the Fort Lupton basket. Danielle Gross out. And Samantha Scott into the game. Now there's going to be a foul on Francisca Watson. So that'll be Watson's first. So Samantha Pettyjohn to the line to shoot a 1-and-1. So Samantha Pettyjohn, her first shot banked off the backboard and good. Her second shot is up and bounces around and bounces off the rim and no good. So Fort Lupton with the ball. Game tied at 17 with 4 minutes to go in the second period. Fort Lupton passed the ball around the perimeter. Garcia, now the ball underneath, but stolen by Alexis Bills. Taken back by Fort Lupton, but that shot is over the basket. Samantha Pettyjohn with the ball. She gets it up past half court. Now her pass down to Samantha Scott. And then Alexis Bills picks it up. And her shot is up and no good. Rebounded by Frick. Her shot up and no good. Frick now with another rebound, but her pass back out is intercepted by Francisca Watson. So Watson all the way down, and her shot up and no good. Rebounded to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider down the right side. She stops and pops, and her shot is no good from about 10 feet. Now Miranda Cruz has it for the Blue Devils, tied at 17 with 3 minutes to go in the second period. And that was up by Cruz. So that's her first basket of the second period. So now Samantha Pettyjohn brings it up past half court. Samantha Scott loses control of it and taken by Fort Lupton, but then Samantha Pettyjohn takes it back away from Fort Lupton. Samantha Pettyjohn loses control for a moment and then gets it back. Now to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills drives under the basket, kicks out to Allie Schneider for a three from the left corner. That's good for Schneider. Now we have a timeout called by Fort Lupton. It's going to be a full timeout. We'll take one with them. With 2:27 to go in the second period, Fort Morgan 20, Fort Lupton 19. You're listening to Fort Morgan Girls Basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School with Eric Nickel, I'm Brian Nickel, bringing you the action tonight between the Fort Morgan Lady Mustangs and the Fort Lupton Lady Blue Devils. Fort Morgan leading 20-19 with 2:27 to go in the second period, coming out of a timeout. Ball going to Fort Lupton. So Fort Lupton down by one. So Regina Vega, her pass off to the corner to Miranda Cruz, but stolen by Alexis Bills. Now Alexis Bills has it. Her pass is to Lauren Staley. Lauren Staley takes a shot from the free throw line, but that is no good. Rebounded by Staley, but she loses control, and that will be turned over to Fort Lupton. With 2 minutes to go in the first half, 20-19, Fort Morgan. So I believe the ball does belong to Fort Lupton. They had a question there for a second. Now Regina Vega has it for the Blue Devils, bringing it past half court. She's guarded by Danielle Gross. Number 2 on number 2. Now off to Francisca Watson. Back over to Vega. Now over to the left corner to Miranda Cruz. Back out to Vega out at about 6 feet from the top of the key. Now she dribbles into the key, back out to Cruz. And now a long three-pointer and a bank shot by Watson for a three. So that puts Fort Lupton up 22-20 with 1:20 to go in the first half. Fort Morgan with the ball up court. Samantha Pettyjohn. Actually, it was Samantha Scott. Now they're going to call a foul. Lauren Staley has the ball. There's going to be a foul on Fort Lupton on number 4, and that'll be Francisca Watson. That'll be her second, I believe. So Lauren Staley will go to the line for a 1-and-1. Allie Schneider into the game, and Celia Smits will take a seat for the Mustangs. So the Fort Lupton coach has a little discussion with the refs, but I guess they have that taken care of. So now Lauren Staley, her free throw is up and no good. Allie got the rebound and put it in for the Mustangs. That ties it at 22. So Vega up court now. She passes it back out to Watson. Pass underneath, but it's tipped out of bounds by Allie Schneider. So 53.9 seconds to go in the first half, 22 all. Now Fort Morgan with a substitution. That's Samantha Pettyjohn in for Samantha Scott. So Fort Lupton inbounds the ball just left of their basket. Pass inside, but it's tipped out of Cruz's hands. And they're going to call a jump ball. Lauren Staley on the ground to tie up the ball. Now we'll go back to Fort Lupton. So Fort Lupton into bounds just left of their, and there another pass in is tipped away by Fort Morgan. Samantha Pettyjohn takes it all the way down. Her layup is no good, but she is fouled on the shot with 43.4 seconds to go in the first half. And that foul is going to go against Kyla Boyd of Fort Lupton. It will be a 2-shot foul for Pettyjohn. Her first shot is up and no good. Now substitution for Fort Lupton, Victoria Martinez into the game. They have a number 40. I'm not sure who 40 was for Fort Lupton. But Pettyjohn with her second foul shot coming. Her shot is up and also no good off the back of the rim. But she gets her own rebound. Yes, she does control it. Now Allie Schneider, she has it, passes it off to Alexis Bills off to the right. Her shot is no good, but tipped out by Fort Morgan, so that'll go over to Fort Lupton with 33.2 seconds to go in the first half. Tied at 22 with 30 seconds to go. Vega with the ball. Fort Lupton to slow it down, going to set up for the last shot. Now Vega back over to Watson. Now back out to Martinez. They're just passing around, trying to kill some clock here. So Watson, the coach is yelling at him to get the ball, get it going. And now number 4, Watson with a deep three, and her shot is no good with 4 seconds to go. Now Fort Morgan, number 15, Cruz gets a shot up right at the buzzer. So that puts Fort Lupton up 24-22 at the half. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustang Girls Basketball on B106 and B106.com. Ryan Nickel at halftime, Fort Lupton up 24-22 over the Fort Morgan girls. Just a reminder, if you haven't heard before, the games tomorrow with Elizabeth will be at 12:30 for the boys and at 2 o'clock for the girls. And the rescheduled game for the Fort Morgan Weld Central games that were postponed due to the weather have been rescheduled for this coming Thursday, the 24th. And those games are at Weld Central High School. The boys will play at 5:30. The girls will play at 7. And both games tomorrow and both games on Thursday can be heard right here on B106 and B106.com. So Fort Morgan for the year, for their free throws are shooting 44% from the stripe. Fort Lupton shooting, they're also shooting 44% from the free throw line, but tonight they're shooting 100%. They're 8 for 8 from the free throw line compared to Fort Morgan 30%. They're 3 of 10. So we have a close game tonight with the Blue Devils and the Mustangs, 24-22 to start the second half. The ball will belong to the Fort Morgan Mustangs. Allie Schneider to inbounds the ball on the far side. She's looking, gets the ball across to Alexis Bills. Now Alexis Bills, her pass is stolen under, is taken away. And now Maggie Boggs, she passes it off to Vega. Vega to Watson. Watson's shot is up and no good. Tipped out of bounds by Boyd of Fort Lupton. Ball to Fort Morgan. Allie Schneider just to the right of the Fort Lupton basket. Allie Schneider with a baseball-type pass to Lauren Staley. Lauren Staley crossed half court. Now back to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider, Alexis Bills, a three from the corner, and that is no good. The rebounded to Fort Morgan, but the pass from Samantha Pettyjohn goes through the legs of Allie Schneider, so the ball will be turned over to the Fort Lupton Blue Devils, leading 24-22 with 7:25 to go in the third period. Fort Lupton inbounds the ball on the far side. Ball now to Maggie Boggs. Boggs over to Vega. Vega out by the three-point line. Now she drives in just inside the three-point line. Boyd takes a shot, but it is no good. Rebound was to Fort Lupton, but knocked out of bounds by Lauren Staley. So Fort Lupton with the ball in their end of the court. Ball in to Regina Vega. Vega now off to Watson. Watson to Boggs. Boggs dribbles to the center, and then a shot by Francisca Watson. Her three is no good. And out of bounds, ball turned over to the Mustangs. Now Alexis Bills in the backcourt. She gets it to Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn being hounded by the Fort Lupton girls. Now Alexis Bills. Bills pass over to Schneider. Her three from the corner is good for Allie Schneider. So that puts the Mustangs up 25-24. Full court press by Fort Morgan, taken by Allie Schneider, and she takes it to the rim and is fouled. The basket is good. So Allie Schneider coming out with a force here. So Schneider with 5 quick points, and she will go to the line to shoot one. So 27-24 Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan being real aggressive here to start the second period. Oh, the foul was on Watson. That will be her third. Free throw is no good by Allie Schneider. Now the ball is taken away by Samantha Pettyjohn. Her layup is no good. Ball rebounded to Fort Lupton, but the foul in the backcourt on Lauren Staley. So that will be 3 on Staley. Ball into Fort Lupton, getting the ball across half court. And that is Maggie Boggs. Maggie Boggs dribbles to the free throw line. Now out to Vega. Vega out just past the three-point line. Cruz with the ball. She goes into the lane, pass back out. Now back out to Vega. Vega being guarded by Danielle Gross. Now over to Boggs. Boggs falls down with the dribble. Now they're going to call a jump ball. Boggs goes down. Allie Schneider grabs it. They're going to call a jump. So the ball will stay with the Fort Lupton Blue Devils. Maggie Boggs to inbound just right of their basket. Now into Cruz, just to the left of the basket. Now over to Vega. Vega outside the three-point line. She's looking to pass. She gets it to Boggs. Boggs against Staley. Now out to Watson. Watson over to Vega. Vega picks up her dribble. Now to Cruz. Cruz in the lane, but her shot is no good. Rebounded to Allie Schneider. Now Samantha Pettyjohn, and she brings it up across half court. Out of control there a little bit, but she keeps it controlled. Now off to Allie Schneider. Schneider to Alexis Bills. Now underneath to Danielle Gross. And a three for Alexis Bills from the left wing. So now we have something on the court. So now the ball will be inbounded by Fort Lupton. 30-24, Fort Morgan with 4:55 to go in the third period. Cruz with the ball across half court. Now to Vega. Vega at the top of the three-point line. Her pass over to Boggs. Boggs to the center of the lane. Now Watson with a three, and that's off the back of the rim. Now fighting for it underneath. Fort Morgan comes away with it. Samantha Pettyjohn now off to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider down her layup. Wild shot is no good by Schneider. Now Francisca Watson is fouled on the drive. And that foul goes against Danielle Gross. That'll be her second. So ball into Fort Lupton. Three-pointer, no good. Rebounded by Christina Frick, I believe, is now into the game. Lauren Staley is out. So ball over to Fort Morgan. So Alexis Bills inbounds just to the left of the Fort Lupton basket. Now to Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn dribbles the ball trying to get past half court. She brings it up the left sideline. She takes it down out to the three-point circle. But she is going to be fouled by number 2, I believe, Regina Vega. That will be her third. So Fort Morgan inbounds the ball into Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills tries to pass, but her pass is deflected. Cruz takes it down for the layup, and her layup is no good. Rebounded by Samantha Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn now picks up her dribble. Now over to Danielle Gross. Gross with the ball. She gets it underneath to Christina Frick. Frick's pass back out is intercepted, though, taken back by Fort Lupton. Fort Morgan up 30-24 with 3:45 to go in the third period. Fort Lupton's layup is no good. Allie Schneider now taking it the length of the floor, and they've called an offensive foul on Allie Schneider. I don't know where they came up with that at. That's the way it's gone. Allie Schneider now, I believe that is her third. It said the Fort Lupton player had position. I can't hardly agree with that, but that's the way it's been called. So 30-24, Fort Lupton behind. Fort Lupton now with the ball. Now Francisca Watson with it. She takes a three from the right wing and no good. Rebounded by Boyd for Fort Lupton. Now Boggs takes it she backs it out. She's guarded by Christina Frick. Now a ball is intercepted by Danielle Gross. Allie Schneider with the dribble right now to Gross, and now to Celia Smith. Her shot up and no good. Now Fort Lupton with the rebound, trying to get it past half court, and they do. And that's Watson with it in the corner. Her pass back out to Cruz, and then over to Boggs out on the left wing. Now over to Boyd, back over to Cruz, to Watson. Watson with it out just outside the three-point circle at the top. Dribbling against Samantha Pettyjohn. Watson keeping the dribble alive. Now back out to Victoria Martinez. Martinez's shot off the glass and no good. Rebounded to Christina Frick. Frick to Allie Schneider. She gets it across half court. 30-24, Fort Morgan. 2:19 to go in the third period. Now a pass underneath to Christina Frick, and her little jump shot is no good. Rebounded to Fort Lupton. So Watson with the ball across half court. She'll be picked up by Samantha Pettyjohn. Now over to Boggs. Christina Frick is covering her. Now the ball out to Martinez. Now back out to Cruz. We'll have a timeout called by Fort Lupton. So we'll take a timeout with them with 1:56 to go in the third period. Fort Morgan 30, Fort Lupton 24. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, where the Fort Morgan Lady Mustangs, are leading the Fort Lupton Lady Blue Devils 30-24 with 1:56 to go in the third period. Just coming out of a timeout, the ball belongs to the Fort Lupton Blue Devils. So we have Danielle Gross, Lauren Staley, Christina Frick, Alexis Bills, and Samantha Scott into the game for the Mustangs. Now Watson, her pass out to Boggs at the top of the key. Now back to Watson. Watson sets up for a three. Her shot is off the side of the backboard and no good. But the long rebound to Fort Lupton. Now Watson has it again. Back out to Boggs. Christina Frick is guarding her. So Christina Frick guarding closely, but now the pass is off to Watson. Now back to Boggs. Boggs with it. Tries to pass it into the lane, but it is knocked out of bounds. by Fort Morgan. So the minute 8 to go in the third period, Fort Morgan up 30-24. And Fort Lupton has not scored in this in the third period. Fort Morgan, it was 24-22. Fort Morgan has put 8 points up. Fort Lupton has not found the bottom of the net yet. Allie Schneider, let's see what they're doing there. Allie Schneider is in. Christina Frick is out. Danielle Gross is out. And Alexis Bills is back in. So shot is rejected by Fort Morgan. Fort Lupton with the ball. Boggs with it. Now she passes back out to Garcia. Now Garcia's pass to Vega. Vega off to Boggs. Now Boggs over to Garcia. Back out to Boggs about 25 feet out. Now she's dribbling against Allie Schneider. Backs it back out. Now over to Vega on the left wing. Now to Garcia at the top. Lauren Staley causes the turnover for Fort Lupton. Lauren Staley hits it, and then Fort Lupton tries to control it and knocks it out. So that'll be a turnover for Fort Lupton to Fort Morgan. Now ball in on the far side to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider, her pass to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills drives down the lane. Her pass is stolen by Fort Lupton with 10 seconds to go in the third period. Boggs carries the ball. So with 8.9 seconds to go in the third period, it looks like Fort Morgan will hold the Blue Devils scoreless, leading 30-24 with 8.9 seconds to go. Alexis Bills inbounds the ball. She finally gets it in to Lauren Staley. Staley's pass is deflected, taken by Garcia. Now Fort Lupton with the last shot of the quarter, and that is no good. So at the end of the third period, Fort Morgan 30, Fort Lupton 24. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustang Girls Basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, where the Fort Morgan Mustang Girls lead the Lady Blue Devils 30-24, entering the fourth period. Fort Morgan held the Blue Devils scoreless in the third period, so they got the put 8 points up and got the lead back. So now Fort Lupton with the ball. So Boggs out at the top. Now she passes it over to Garcia on the right wing. She drives to the free throw line, passes it back out. Now Boggs for a three, and that shot is good by Boggs. So now Fort Morgan brings it down court. Alexis Bills with a shot from the side, and that is no good. Rebounded by Fort Lupton, but tied up by Alexis Bills. So possession goes to Fort Morgan. Up 30-27 with 7:23 to go in the fourth period. Fort Morgan inbounds just to the right of their basket. Now a shot by Lauren Staley is no good, but rebounded by Alexis Bills. Now pass underneath to Allie Schneider, and that is up and good for Schneider for the 2-point basket. 32-27, Fort Morgan. Now Kraus with the ball. Her attempted shot was taken away by Alexis Bills. Now Allie Schneider with the ball across half court. Dribbles around behind her back, off to Alexis Bills. And that shot is no good. Taken by Fort Lupton, but taken away by Alexis Bills. Her little shot is good, just to the right of the key. So Alexis with a little 2-point shot there. Now Fort Lupton has it up court, goes to the ground, but they're going to call Samantha Scott with a foul, with a reach in. So that'll be her first. 5 team fouls on Fort Morgan, 2 on Fort Lupton. Fort Lupton inbounds the ball. So Vega out front against Samantha Pettyjohn. Now over to Garcia on the left wing. Then back out to Boggs, over to Cruz on just inside the 3-point circle. Now back out to Garcia. Garcia is being guarded by Allie Schneider. She knocks the ball away for a second. And now back to the corner to Cruz. Ball is kicked out of bounds by Allie Schneider. Nice defensive move there by Schneider. 34-27, Fort Morgan with 6:10 to go in the fourth in the game. So Fort Lupton to inbounds the ball on the far sideline. Vega with it out about 20 feet. Now she drives just to the top of the three-point line, passes it off to Garcia. Garcia back out top to Boggs. Boggs over to Martinez, and she loses it to Allie Schneider. Schneider off to Alexis Bills. Bills to Schneider. Now Schneider with a three-pointer, but no good. But two Mustangs come down with the ball, and that's going to be a travel. So that'll be a turnover to Fort Lupton. Fort Morgan up 34-27 with 5:46 to go in the game. So Fort Lupton with the ball across half court. Vega now off to Garcia. Garcia off the right wing. She dribbles into the lane. Now back out to Boggs. Now Cruz tries to dribble to the center of the basket. Rebound on the floor, and they're going to call a jump ball. Possession arrow to Fort Lupton. Samantha Scott out. Danielle Gross back in for the Mustangs. So Fort Lupton inbounds the ball just left of their basket. Now into Cruz. Back out to Garcia. Garcia looking to pass. She does to Vega. Now Vega at the three-point line. Passes up, backs out to Boggs. Boggs to Martinez. Martinez underneath, but her pass is knocked out of bounds by Alexis Bills. Nice defense there. So Fort Lupton to inbounds just left of their basket. Martinez looking, she gets the ball into the corner over to Garcia. Allie Schneider with the defense, and she gets the rebound. Now off to Samantha Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn gets it to Lauren Staley, and her shot is up and no good. She gets her own rebound. Now Allie Schneider out at the top of the key for three, and that is no good. The rebound, though, goes to Danielle Gross just to the left of the basket, and her shot is up and good. So that gives Fort Morgan a 9-point lead, 36-27, but they're going to call a foul now on Fort Morgan on Danielle Gross. That'll be her third with 4:45 to go in the game, 36-27, Fort Morgan. Samantha Scott back in for Danielle Gross. Blue Devils to inbounds the ball just left of their basket. Looking, keep looking. Now the ball is in to Vega. Her pass back out to Watson. Watson dribbles in, but her shot is up and no good. But they've stopped play. Alexis Bills is down on the ground. So we'll see if she's turned an ankle, a knee. I'm not sure just what has happened there. So we've got a injury timeout. Right now, Celia Smits will go in for her. So Willow Coffee, Tea, and Smoothies, serving you the best coffees, lattes, and smoothies. Now open 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to better serve you and ready to make your favorite specialty drink or offer a sweet treat. Stop by and see them at 921 Edison Street in Brush. Hometown Auto and Hardware. Brush's local Napa and Hardware Hanks and small engine repair shop. Stop by and let them help you today. 1305 Edison. Looks like Alexis is going to try to get up. I'm not sure, just favoring her right leg somewhat. So she's up and going, so that's a good sign. So Celia Smith will be in for her. So the ball will be Fort Lupton just to the right of their basket. So Fort Lupton looking to get the ball in, gets it into Vega, and Vega's shot is up and good. So that's the first bucket of the half. The third one, I'm sorry. So now Fort Morgan with the ball in, and they're going to have a Fort Morgan ball on the side. Celia Smith to get the ball in. She gets it into Samantha Scott. Samantha Scott brings it across half court. She picks up her dribble, off to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider out. Now she dribbles it, picks up her dribble. Now into Samantha Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn's shot is up and off the rim and rebounded. The refs don't know who it belongs to, so we're going to see who it goes to. They're going to give it to Fort Lupton. So with 4:06 to go in the game, Fort Morgan up 36-29. Fort Lupton brings the ball up. Baseball pass down to Vega. Vega back out to Boggs. Boggs into Cruz. Cruz takes it down the lane. They're going to call a blocking foul on Allie Schneider. That is going to be 4 on her. So Fort Lupton inbounds the ball. This is a good Alexis Bills back into the game. Allie Schneider out. 3:52 to go in the game. Will be a 1-and-1 for Cruz. So her first shot is up and good. Cruz had 10 points at the half. This is only her first for the second half. So 36-30. Fort Morgan with 3:52 to go. Cruz's next shot up and no good. Rebounded around and taken by Alexis Bills, but there's going to be a reach-in foul on Fort Lupton, and I believe it's going to be on number 2, Regina Vega. That will be her fourth. So Fort Morgan inbounds the ball. Fort Lupton with full court pressure. Back to Alexis Bills, and her pass is tipped out of bounds by Fort Lupton. Lazy pass there. They need to make sure their passes are better than that. So Alexis Bills to inbounds the ball. Still at the far end of the court. Pass is tipped, but taken by Lauren Staley. Lauren Staley dribbling down the lane. Her shot is up and no good. Rebound to Fort Lupton. Boggs with it. She has a layup here. We'll see if Pettyjohn gets in front of her. Misses the shot, gets her own rebound. That shot is up and no good. Lauren Staley with the rebound. 36-30 with 3:25 to go in the game. So double dribble called on Lauren Staley. She picked it up, kind of pressed it against her body, and then dribbled it again. So we have a 30-second timeout called by Fort Morgan. So we'll keep it here. Fort Morgan Federal Bank, keeping community banking simple and committed to their community. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Early Toyota East, whether you're in the market to purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle, Early Toyota East at 1209 Main Street in Fort Morgan will professionally fit you into the car or truck of your choice. Serving all of Northeast Colorado, Early Toyota East. Equitable Savings and Loan, Northeast Colorado's locally owned hometown savings and loan in Fort Morgan and Brush. Colorado Plains Medical Center, accidents or illness can strike at any time, day or night. When they do, every second counts. As a Level 3 Trauma Center, Colorado Plains Medical Center is ready to handle any kind of emergency. So ball to the Fort Lupton Blue Devils, down 36-30. Shot inside is up and good by Cruz. So 36-32. Now Fort Morgan has picked the ball up in the back court, and they need to get it across court. Lauren Staley with it, gets it across court, but it is stolen, but kicked out of bounds by Watson of Fort Lupton, so the ball will stay with the Mustangs. Celia Smiths, Samantha Scott, Lauren Staley, Samantha Pettyjohn, and Alexis Bills for the Mustangs. 36-32 at 2:49 to go in the game. Lauren Staley with the ball out at the right wing. Now she tries to dribble, but she is going to be fouled. And that's going to go against number 5. And that will be Victoria Martinez. And that is her first. 4th team foul on Fort Lupton. 17 fouls on Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan to get the ball in. Did not get it in on the 5 seconds. That was a quick 5 seconds. So Allie Schneider and Danielle Gross in for the Mustangs. Celia Smits and Samantha Scott come to the bench. So Fort Lupton now with the ball in the front court. Boggs with it. She takes it. She picks up her dribble now into Cruz at the free throw line. Cruz back out to Watson. Watson over to Vega. Vega's three is up and no good. Allie Schneider with the rebound. Allie Schneider continues with it in the back court. She dribbles around the back, gets across half court. Now her pass underneath. Beautiful pass underneath to Lauren Staley. 38-32 Fort Morgan with 2 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the fourth period. Now Watson with a three from the right corner. So that makes it 38-35. Now Lauren Staley across half court. Ball over to Samantha Pettyjohn. Now Pettyjohn back out to Allie Schneider out by the half court line. Now Cruz is going to be called for an intentional foul. So Allie Schneider will go to the line. So we'll see if she can get some free throws here. 38-35 with a minute 44. These would be big. They need to hit these free throws if they want to win this game. So Allie Schneider at the free throw line by herself. Her first shot rolls around and good. So she'll get another one. 39-35, 4-point lead for Fort Morgan. Her second shot up and also good. Big points there for the Mustangs. And Fort Morgan will retain possession. Just to the right of the free throw line, or the basket. So Boyd back into the game for Fort Lupton. So Fort Morgan will try to get the ball in due to Alexis Bills, and her shot is up and no good from the left corner. And now the ball is off of Allie Schneider's foot. So the ball will go over to Fort Lupton, 40-35 with a minute 44 to go in the game. So Boggs brings it up quickly. She drives it off to the left side, off to Watson. Now Watson off to Vega. Vega back to Watson out at the three-point line. Now her pass is over to Boggs. Boggs' shot is no good. Alexis Bills comes down with the ball. She gets it off to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider's baseball pass, but it is going to be too long and go out of bounds. With a minute 18 to go in the game, Fort Morgan leading 40-35. Need to keep care of the ball a little bit better. So Fort Lupton with the ball in, and it's almost taken by Fort Morgan. And now it's off to Watson for a deep three, and that is good for Watson. That was about 5 feet behind the three-point circle. 40-38, Fort Morgan. Now across the half-court line, Allie Schneider has it. She dribbles. Her ball, her pass to the corner to Alexis Bills, but there was a foul called. And that was on Cruz. That's only her second. So Fort Morgan will inbound the ball in front of their bench. 54.5 seconds to go in the game, 40-38. Fort Morgan to get the ball in. Goes to Alexis Bills down in the corner. Her pass over to Lauren Staley. That shot is going to be called a jump. So possession arrow to Fort Lupton. So 49.4 seconds to go. Fort Morgan leading 40-38. Fort Lupton with the ball. Get it up to half court. They do get it past half court. Watson, she drives it in, and her shot is no good, but she is going to be fouled by Alexis Bills. And that's Bills' first foul of the game. So Watson will go to the line for two. Could tie this up here with 41.6 seconds to go. Her first shot is up and good. 40-39, Fort Morgan. We have a timeout called by Fort Morgan. And we'll see what it's going to be a full timeout. So we'll take one with them. 40-39 with 41.6 seconds to go in the fourth period. You're listening to Fort Morgan girls basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, an exciting basketball game going on between the Fort Morgan Lady Mustangs and the Fort Lupton Lady Blue Devils. 40-39 with 41.6 seconds to go in the game. And Watson will go to the line for one more shot. Fort Morgan with 8 team fouls. Fort Lupton with 6 team fouls. So Watson at the line. See if her shot is up and good. So we have a tie ball game with 41 seconds to go in the game. Allie Schneider has it in the backcourt. Now she'll bring it up along the right sideline. Her pass is over to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills shot up and good. Big shot there by Bills. 25 seconds to go. Boggs with it now over to Watson. 20 seconds to go. Now a three by Watson. That is no good. Rebounded to Fort Lupton. And that is good. Now Allie Schneider with it with 10 seconds. So we have 8.5 seconds to go in the game. Tied at 42. That last shot by Fort Lupton was by Cruz. So that gives her 15 points on the game. So we have 8.5 seconds to go in the game. Tied at 42. The Fort Morgan ball after this timeout. Brush Grocery Cart. Stop, shop, and save with all your grocery needs and snacks for game time enjoyment. 1302 West Edison Street in Brush. T.O. Charlie's. T.O. Charlie's located at 700 West Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. Will not be beat by anyone when it comes to price. They'll help you find a car that fits your needs and budget. If you don't see what you want, T.O. Charlie's will find it for you. Log on to TOCharliesFTM.com to view inventory, current specials, and apply for a loan online. Drive away with confidence at T.O. Charlie's. Okay, here we go. 8.5 seconds to go. Fort Morgan inbounds the ball. Far side in the back court. Here we go. Alexis Bills, the inbounds. They get it to Allie Schneider. Allie Schneider driving up court. She drives it down court with 3 seconds. And Alexis Bills, the pass to Alexis Bills is out of bounds. So that will go over to Fort Lupton. So Fort Lupton takes a timeout here. We'll take one with them. 42-42 with 1.6 seconds to go in the game. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School with 1.6 seconds to go in the game. 42-42. The ball will belong to the Fort Lupton Blue Devils, but they will have to go the length of the floor to try and get a shot to win. So Fort Morgan, I would guess, will probably put somebody on the ball to try to make it a difficult pass in. We'll see. Maybe not. Right now, they're not putting anybody on the ball. So Fort Lupton try to get the ball in. Ball is in, but it's tipped. So they have the clock shows 0.6 seconds on there, but I don't believe they started it right away. So that is going to be the end of the game. Or end of the game. That's going to be the end of regulation, tied at 42. So we will go into overtime here with the Fort Lupton Blue Devils and the Fort Morgan Mustangs tied at 42. We'll take a short time out and be back on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, 42-42 at the end of regulation. 4-minute overtime. Fort Lupton had no points in the third period, scored 18 points in the fourth period. So now we have a jump ball. I don't know if it'll be a... Looks like there will be a jump at center court. So 4 minutes for overtime. Allie Schneider will jump for the Mustangs. And Kyla Boyd, sophomore for the Blue Devils, will jump against her. So the ball up and controlled by Fort Lupton. So Regina Vega off to Boggs. Boggs' three is going to be short, just off the backboard and taken by Alexis Bills. And there will be a foul called on Fort Lupton. That is going to be on Kyla Boyd. That is her third. That's 17 fouls on Fort Lupton. So Alexis Bills to the line for a 1-and-1. So once again, Fort Morgan needs to make some free throws to continue this. Her shot is up and no good, but the rebound by Allie Schneider is up and good. So that puts Fort Morgan up 44-42. 3:40 to go in the overtime period. Boggs now with it out on the left wing. Now she dribbles up to the center. Now she gets it back. Now over to Vega. Vega's pass over to Watson. Watson is for a three, and it's going to be off the rim and no good. Rebounded by Boyd, but her shot was up and blocked by Allie Schneider. Last touch by Fort Lupton out of bounds. Fort Morgan gets the ball in to Samantha Pettyjohn. Now Pettyjohn loses control of it. Back to Schneider. Now Schneider gets it across the half-court line. Her pass underneath to Staley. Staley shot up and no good. Now Boggs with it back down the other way. Boggs off to Vega. Vega back to Boggs. Boggs underneath to Boyd. Boyd back to Boggs. Boggs over to Vega on the left sideline. Now cross court to Watson. Watson dribbles in, but they're going to call a foul on Lauren Staley, I believe. Foul, yes, on Lauren Staley. So that is 4 on Staley. So they be a 1-and-1 for Watson. Her first shot up and no good. Rebound to Allie Schneider. Schneider's outlet pass to Pettyjohn. Back to Schneider. Schneider to get it past half court, and she does. Now to Samantha Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn into Alexis Bills, and her shot up and good. For Bills, the Mustangs have a 4-point lead, 46-42 with 2:23 to go in the overtime period. Now Watson with a three. And that ball is in and out. Now they're going to call a foul on Staley. Well, it's going to be on, excuse me, on Danielle Gross. Oh, on Schneider, excuse me. Well, I guess they did give the foul to Staley, so that is her fifth, so she is out. So Kyla Boyd to the line to shoot two. Her first free throw, she is waiting. Her first free throw is up and in and out. So she'll get another. 46-42 Fort Morgan. With 2:18 to go in the overtime period. So Boyd with her second shot is up and no good. Riley Schneider with the rebound. Now Pettyjohn, her pass is up court, but knocked out of bounds by Fort Lupton. So Fort Morgan with the ball just across into their end of the court with 2:12 to go. Allie Schneider looked to get the ball in. She does to Alexis Bills. Alexis Bills now off to Allie Schneider. Snyder out at the top of the key. She drives in, but they're going to call a foul on Cruz, I believe. So that should be a 1-and-1. That'll be 3 on Cruz. So Allie Snyder needs to make some free throws. 46-42. Fort Morgan leading with 2:04 to go in the overtime period. So Allie Snyder with the ball. Her shot up and good. Big shot there by Snyder. So that gives her 3 points in the overtime period. So she'll get one more. That is up and also good. So 48-42, 6-point lead for Fort Morgan. Now Watson with the ball. She's in the corner. Back out to Vega at the top. Now to Cruz. Back out to Boggs. Boggs underneath to Boyd. Boyd, the ball is taken away. Alexis Bills knocks it away. Now Allie Snyder has it. Snyder with the pass to Alexis Bills across half court. Alexis Bills drives down towards the basket. Her pass underneath to Frick. She was hammered and wasn't called. I don't know how they can miss something like that. She was right across her arms. But Christina Frick is in. So Fort Morgan take the ball out just to the left of their basket. Ball into Alexis Bills with 1:35 to go. Her shot up and no good. Rebound by Samantha Pettyjohn. Then they call her for a travel. Looks like it should have been a jump ball to start with, but they call it a travel. 48-42, Fort Morgan with 1:31 to go in the overtime period. Vega brings it up across half court against Samantha Pettyjohn. Now into Kyla Boyd, back out to Vega. Vega over to Watson. And she has it knocked away by Samantha Pettyjohn. So we'll stay with Fort Lupton. Now a 3 from Watson from the right wing. Now Alexis Bills has it. Allie Snyder up court to Danielle Gross. Danielle Gross now backs it back out. 48-45. Allie Snyder now with the ball. Allie Snyder gets it back. We're under a minute to go in the overtime period. Alexis Bills has it now back to Snyder. Snyder to Danielle Gross. Danielle Gross over to Samantha Pettyjohn out at the right wing. Now back out to Danielle Gross. Danielle Gross dribbles over to the left. Now they're going to call a, I'm not sure what they called. They called a foul on, I thought they said on number 4. So that would be Watson. So that'll be her 4th. So Alexis Bills to the line. Again, they need to make some of these, make sure they make these free throws. So Alexis Bills up and good. So that makes it a 2-possession game, 49 to 45. Fort Morgan with 41.2 seconds to go in the overtime. Second shot also up and good for Bills. 50 to 45, 5-point lead. 35 seconds to go in the overtime. 3-pointer by Fort Lupton is short, doesn't even hit the iron. And that was taken by Vegas, so that'll be Fort Morgan ball. So ball into Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn is being hammered in the backcourt. We don't call anything, then she ends up losing it out of bounds. We have 27.5 seconds to go in the overtime period. Ball goes to Fort Lupton. Ball underneath to Boyd. Boyd has it taken away. And now we have I guess they're going to call a foul on Fort Morgan. And that's going to go against, I thought it was Christina Frick, but I'm not sure who they called that on. Anyway, Cruz to the line to shoot. Her first shot is up and good. So the foul was on Samantha Pettyjohn. So that's her second of the game. Second shot is no good, but rebounded by Fort Lupton. That shot up and no good. Now a jump ball has been called to the left of the lane. That possession goes back to Fort Lupton, 50-46 with 18.5 seconds to go. Fort Morgan in the lead. So Fort Lupton with the ball in, but they have it stolen by Pettyjohn. Pettyjohn drives all the way, but she is fouled by Vega. That will be Vega's fifth. She will be out of the game. So Samantha Pettyjohn will go to the line to shoot two. Critical free throws, 50-46, still a 2-possession game right now. So Fort Lupton taking their time getting somebody into the game. Platte Valley Hearing Center. You don't have to travel out of town to receive the best and most advanced hearing health care. Visit Platte Valley Hearing Center located at 409 East Platte Avenue in Fort Morgan. So Fort Lupton with their replacement in, and that is going to be number 10, Cardenas. So Samantha Pettyjohn set to shoot her free throws, 50-46 with 11.6 seconds to go in the game. Her first shot is up and no good. So still a four-point lead for Fort Morgan, 11.6 seconds. Second shot is up, and that one is good. So that makes it a 5-point advantage for Fort Morgan with 11.6 seconds to go. Both teams are in the double bonus on free throws. Now the ball into Watson with 10 seconds. Watson up the right court. She backs up for a three. Her shot is up and no good. Rebound to Allie Schneider with 3 seconds. 2 seconds, one. And now at the end of the game, they had called a foul. Allie Schneider had thrown the ball down on the ground almost at one of the Fort Lupton players. They called a technical, I believe a technical on Allie Schneider. I don't know if they called a foul or not on Fort Lupton. Now the girls are chit-chatting with each other out at center court. They're breaking each other up, breaking them apart here a little bit. So the refs are deciding what is going on. There's no time on the clock. Fort Morgan up 51-46. So we'll see what they've called. Should have been a foul on Fort Lupton the way they were reaching in, and whether they called that or not. I believe they did give Allie Schneider a technical. So we'll see who they call that on. They're explaining it right now. I can't hear what they're... Okay, back at Fort Morgan High School, we had a technical problem here. Somebody unplugged us, so we got back here with... So it's 52-48 with 4/10 of a second left, and the ball goes to Fort Lupton. She had some free throws shot, but if they just stay away from them, they can't even get a shot off. So Fort Morgan wins the barn burner, 52-48 in overtime. So we'll take a 3-minute break and be back with the stats of the game. You're listening to Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball on B106 and B106.com. Back at Fort Morgan High School, barn burner of a game here between the Fort Lupton Blue Devils and Fort Morgan Lady Mustangs. Mustangs win it 52-48 in overtime. It was tied at 42 at the end of regulation. So Fort Morgan pulls away, score 10-6 for Fort Lupton. Leading scorers for Fort Lupton, Francisca Watson had 25, Miranda Cruz had 16, Vega had 4, and Meg Boggs had 3. For Fort Morgan, leading scorer was Allie Schneider with 20, Lauren Staley with 10, Alexis Bills with 13, Danielle Gross with 6, Samantha Pettyjohn with 2, and Celia Smits with 1. Hit some big free throws there in overtime and at the end of the game regulation also to seal this win. For the turnovers, the Mustangs had 27, Blue Devils had 21. And then in the overtime, they had two turnovers in the overtime, one for Fort Lupton. So once again, Fort Morgan pulls out a close, exciting game here at Fort Morgan High School, 52-48. So once again, our next broadcast will be tomorrow, starting at 12:30 for the boys against Elizabeth, followed by the girls at 2 o'clock. So once again, the final score, 52-48. The sound engineer and producer of Fort Morgan Mustangs basketball has been Braden Godin. So from Fort Morgan High School, this is Brian Nickel for Eric Nickel. You've been listening to Fort Morgan High School basketball on B106 and B106.com.